Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020.
I don't know why I keep, like the whole day I've thought it's the 3rd, so it is the 2nd, okay.
It is.
All
You know
right.
what's interesting is I didn't touch on this yesterday. Yesterday I've been in this place for 3 years to the day.
Wow.
3 years.
It doesn't feel like it. 3 years.
It sure doesn't.
Huh. Well, you got a nice little bunker here. You're very lucky.
Right.
It's a good place.
I've always called it the bunker on the bay.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just
For people that don't live in the area, local on Long Island, it's really one of the good things. Well, there's a lot of good things about living on the island, but one of the main things is the accessibility to water.
yeah.
You're right there. I mean, walking distance from good fishing.
Yep.
And just prime scenery to just kind of relax, and
Yeah.
it's really, really good.
My favorite time to go is at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I know it's crazy.
No, a
It's
lot
totally-
of people
it's
do
a unique.
the serenity of that time.
It's bizarre.
Are there other people out there at that time?
Not a soul.
No?
It's always just me.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's good.
you hear fish jump.
Yeah.
There's things that occur in the night that you're not aware of in the day.
Yeah, well, everything that sleeps during, all the
Is up at
nocturnal, animals.
Occasionally you'll hear like these different splashes too. Like there's been times where I've heard like bloop, bloop,
Yeah,
bloop,
yeah.
and I'm like, what the hell could
Yeah,
that
right.
be?
Incredible.
It's so strange. It's so biodiverse.
I like to when I come back towards the place at night and I see the lights on. And the other night, for instance, I was, it's not a big deal to see raccoons, but I've never seen literally about 15 raccoons right
Like a
by,
gang.
Yeah, and they were all by this lighted up bush, and they're all looking at me as I pass, and I was like, man, I got to get my camera
They're
out.
in Antifa.
So I got my camera out, and the second I was ready, it was like they looked at each other, and they're like, fuck
We're
this
out.
guy. And
Yeah.
they bounced, and they were gone.
It's pretty funny.
But I've never seen that many. And what's amazing is when they left, they were gone like this. It wasn't even like I could catch the last two. Wherever they
can
scurried,
almost walk up walls.
They're amazing.
Yeah, they are.
They're amazing.
And they're so cute. That's
Yeah.
the problem. Like,
Yep.
I find raccoons to just be like so fun.
Yes.
They're a pain in the neck. Like they rip up my trash
Sure,
almost
sure.
every night.
And they
But-
can be rabid, obviously.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Those are one of those animals that, if they're very cute, but they can also cause,
Serious harm.
Yeah. Very cute, though.
They're very smart, very intelligent little
Very.
critters. And
Very.
you can't tame them. Well, you can actually have a raccoon as a pet. There's like quite a few Instagram pages.
Oh, you can have it inside the house like
Some
a dog?
people nurture them like they're
Wow.
little kitties. Yeah. It's
And
crazy.
how do you ever have to release them at some point? Or
I don't
I'd like
know
to look
enough
at that.
about it. I don't
I
think
love
so.
to see that when people have animals that they're. I've got your mom got this cat that it's really all of a sudden it's like awakened my love of animals.
They're
like,
cute.
When I was a kid, I was there was a stray cat in the neighborhood, and it was black, orange, and white. And I remember I used to beg my mother, please let me have this cat. Let me take this cat in.
Yeah,
and she
wasn't
just,
going for that.
because I had allergies and stuff, but I think her being a typical mom was very, your allergies, or she probably really didn't just want to clean up after the animal. But regardless, so I didn't have that cat, and I kind of grew up where we just weren't allowed to have like a dog or a cat.
It's kind of brutal to do that to a kid.
I would have liked to have had a pet. So, but she said, okay, now my history with pets as a kid, I'll run through them really quick, because I didn't have like a dog or a cat. But first one we had, my brother and I, we had some fish.
There you go.
so
No fuss, no muss.
No, and they weren't. It could have been goldfish for all I remember, but they lasted a year or two, and then they kicked the bucket. But after that, we had hamsters, and I don't know what happened. Either I fed the hamster the wrong food or something, but he passed away fairly quickly.
Where's PETA?
Yeah, I mean, so that hamster was gone, and then the funniest one was we had a bullfrog. And we caught, when you have an in-ground pool, you find a lot of animals, whether it be a frog or a chipmunk sometimes, in the pool. So we found a bullfrog, and what happened was we had it in like a tank, and my brother or myself never put the top on the tank, and the bullfrog escaped. And my mom likes to vacuum at 4:45 in the morning. She's one of those,
man.
So she came downstairs to vacuum.
She's like a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, she is. She's incredible.
Yeah.
And so she looked at the fireplace, and on the brick fireplace, she thought she saw a rock. So she walked over to pick up the rock. She said, "Oh, could have been one of the kids put a rock in here." She went to move it, and the thing went ribbit, and it launched.
Wow.
The vacuum went up in the air,
Yeah,
and
right.
she's flipping.
It was a real catastrophe.
So that was the extent of our animals. We never went past that. So meeting your mom, she's always had animals and stuff. So I love the dogs. We had some good dogs, but the last dog that we had was that little dog they called Chewy, like Chewbacca.
Oh man, rest in peace.
And when I tell you, it kills me when I think of that little guy. He was such a
Good dog.
sweet dog.
So cute with his underbite.
He was just,
Do you know that he used to try to court the cat?
yeah, I know. He was
so funny.
cute. And I remember I used to be able to get him to like stand up and do his little tricks.
Yeah,
And I used to watch your sister walk out and your mother walk out, and he would follow them out like a little kid. And I just, to think, and he unfortunately
So sad.
passed away by getting hit by a car. And it's like he ran to your mom
I know.
and
In his
ran
final
right
moments.
up to her in his final moments. And it literally, to this day, there are nights I'll think of that little guy and I'll start crying. Like
Sad. Yeah, I don't like to think of it.
Yeah, it destroys me.
Yeah.
And
Especially. Yeah.
and now they got this cat who I've taken a liking to, and it's like all of a sudden it's like my love of
Lewis.
animals. Yeah,
I like calling him Lewis.
Yeah, and he's such a good little cat. Like your sister will sit and watch TV on the floor, and he sits on his hind legs next to her,
Like a kid.
just hangs out,
Yeah.
and like
Animals are something else.
they are. And I think that
Especially cats because they don't need you.
yeah, they're a great pet.
They are.
They really
They're super
are.
independent. They're very
Yep.
clean. Their saliva produces
Yeah.
soap.
Oh, it's amazing.
It really is.
They're beautiful animals, and they're
Dogs, you really have to sometimes have the space.
yeah, you have to, yeah, because it's not nice to
fair.
do to the dog, right?
Right.
And
They're big animals.
we've had pit bulls, American Staffordshire Terriers. We've had 2 of those. Both great dogs, but that's, again, you're investing the time to raise those dogs properly.
I remember when one of our pits back in the old days
Yep.
would run around the yard and she would clip me right in my knees
Candy.
and buckle me like it was nothing. They were so like balls of muscle
Yeah.
that could run 30 miles an hour.
Well,
It's
you
crazy.
remember when you were on the skateboard? Was it you or Michael?
Yeah.
And-
And then we would fly down the street. Yeah.
And I had the brilliant idea of trying to film you on your skateboard with the dog, and I figured it would run and just tug you a little bit. This thing ran so fast that you came up parallel alongside him.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was like it came at me like a guillotine ready to chop. So
Yeah.
I had to jump over it. I mean, those dogs are massively powerful.
Yeah.
And
Rottweilers too.
Rotties are
They're
yeah.
a different breed.
I knew somebody whose father raised Rottweilers. Actually, the guy we got our second pit bull from also bred Rottweilers right off the plane from Germany.
Wow.
And those dogs, I always found them to be a little unpredictable. And the people that I knew who bred them liked them, but they also said they're one of the toughest breeds to really tame, to get that
Edge off.
Yeah. So, but there's one.
Those dogs in particular, the Rotties, they
Yeah.
scare me more than the rest.
Yeah.
Because they are like bears.
Yes, they're enormous. In fact, there's one that's in the complex by where I live, and the guy. First of all, you're not supposed to have these types of dogs in a complex. They're it says it in the contract. You can't have pit bulls, you can't have Rottweilers,
Right.
Shepherd, any type of dog that could potentially
Cause mass
right.
harm.
I'm not saying they're bad dogs. I mean, I love dogs. It's not that.
You don't want your little child though stuck around.
This
one.
idiot walks this dog, and when I tell you the guy is skinnier than he's like literally looks like a salt pretzel,
Like a
just
string bean.
straight pretzel rod. And he walks this dog, and the dog's got a muzzle on it. I don't usually see dogs with muzzles. And
Right,
it's
that's
got a
not-
big muzzle on it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm running around the corner, and I hear, and the dog. When I tell you that the dog dragged this guy, and he's like my age. He's not a young kid. He couldn't hold the dog. The dog was literally running, and he was just holding on for dear life. So afterwards, I said, dude, you got this dog in this apartment complex. If somebody's kid, like, you shouldn't have it. If you can't physically control that animal, then you shouldn't have it.
Yeah.
Because all that's going to happen is, if God forbid that the muzzle comes,
it's like letting a tiger escape in a freaking.
God forbid, then that dog is going to get put down.
Right.
You know,
you're actually putting your own dog's life in jeopardy. So
it's like, you know, he wants.
Or someone's going to come out and shoot the thing.
Well, that's what I said. Honestly, man, if my kid was ever here and that dog, I'm not somebody, I love animals, but like, if the dog bites my kid, that's,
I'm going to break its
neck.
neck.
I mean, I'm sorry, and you know, I'm sure animal
I'm going to bite
lovers,
the dog back. I'm going to bite its face off.
You know, control the animal and train. But these are things that could be eliminated when you train animals properly.
Or use common sense and don't have a tremendous animal in a place that it doesn't belong.
Right. You know, keeping it in this apartment, you know.
Right.
So he doesn't have a yard. Just him walking it probably once a day does not, you know. So
they're like horses.
Enormous. And this one was a very large dog. And I couldn't believe the way it just dragged him, and I said, "Man, that's potential for danger."
There was this woman that lived over by the Smithtown house, and she had 2 pit bulls. I would see her every morning. She had curlers in her hair. She didn't even look like she was all there. She looked like a crazy old lady, and she had these 2 pit bulls, and they would do the same thing to her, but they didn't have a muzzle on, and it's like
you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, you are.
You know, look, we had pit bulls, and when I used to walk in the female one, and I was. You know, I'm strong where I could hold the dog. The force that you feel on that dog,
they're no joke.
They're no joke, you know. And if if you're not going to be able to control it, then you're only putting not only other people's lives at risk,
and potentially your life, because I might kick your ass too.
And I was pissed. And I said something to the guy, and he looked at me like, you know, I'm sorry. Yeah, but it's like, you know, that's dangerous. This kid's all over the playground. This guy's getting dragged by this dog. It's like,
some people are such clowns.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, well, I think he probably wants to look like a tough guy with his dog, because he probably wasn't a tough guy. So, anyway, but my love of animals recently has really...
With all that being said.
Yeah, with me saying I want to beat up a Rottweiler, with all that being said. But that's the point. It gets me annoyed because, you know, animals get bad names for schmucks like that.
Like that. Right.
He probably trained it to be like, you know, an attack dog or tough dog. You know, it's like, come on.
My favorite dog of all time, German Shepherds.
Beautiful dogs.
I know that
they were the scariest when I was a paper boy. Like, pit bulls back in the 80s weren't as big of a thing. When they came more like when the gangster rap, and a lot of guys would have pit bulls in the videos.
Yeah. Michael Vick.
Yeah. And that schmuck with the animals. But before that, the German Shepherds and Dobermans were the real dog of choice as far as people having big dogs. And there were 2 houses where they had German Shepherds, and I was scared shitless to not only deliver the paper, but I hated when I'd have to collect, where they'd have to open the door, and that dog would always be like an inch from snapping. You know,
Dobermans are another one that'll put the fear of God.
Dobermans are very unpredictable. Yep. I know someone well that had 2 Dobermans, and they loved the dog. They said that it was a wonderful, sweet dog, but I'll tell you, there's just something about them.
They're strange.
Yeah.
They look strange.
Yes.
They're tall.
Yes.
They're lanky.
Yes.
Their teeth are like saber-toothed tigers.
And I always
remember the people at the end of the block that used to have the big 4th of July party?
Yes.
They had like 4 of those dogs. I remember. I used to be like, "What the hell is that thing?" Like when I was a kid. Like, they're another strange type of dog.
And they're back in the 80s. Those dogs, the Shepherds and the Dobermans, were the ones that were like the guard dogs.
Yeah.
And you know, when I used to, and Roddy's, like in Ozone Park, my aunt and uncle used to have a house in Ozone Park, and I would go to see them, and we'd always walk by. There was this row of like car lots where they had like used cars and stuff, and it was closed on a Sunday. And man, they'd have these junkyard dogs there.
Oh, they're psychos.
Holy moly, man! Walking by in every
What's
lot.
that movie called with the crazy dog?
Cujo.
Cujo. Yeah, they're like Cujos, man.
Well, that was what it was like, because you'd walk by these chain link fences, and these dogs were like, they just wanted to get through that fence.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, it was like they'd have a lot. Then there would be another, like right next to each other. There was 3 or 4, and then they'd have the train overpass. It was like real, like city type of living.
I love Richard Pryor's joke when he's talking about the dogs that were chasing him when he was a kid, and I can't. I'm not even gonna do it because I'll butcher it. But if anybody wants to see something funny, listen to Richard Pryor talking about dogs chasing the brothers. It was so funny.
Yeah, well, that's when I was a paper boy. There were many incidents, like I said, where there was chases, because of these dogs. But having that little guy, that little Chewy that we had that got hit by a car, did something to me where it's like I can't get over that little dog.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy.
Yeah, and now the cat, I look forward every day to playing with the cat and seeing the cat, and. Your mom has a knack.
It'll get big and fat too.
Yeah. Your mom has a knack for getting good animals. Like I think it's because she was raised with animals her whole life, and she's good at training them. She doesn't let them. I can't stand when I go to people's houses, and again I like animals, but I don't want a dog that the second I walk in the door is all slobbering me.
That's what they do, though.
Yeah,
and that's love.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I don't
it's
like
not for you.
Sometimes I'll be I don't like when I'm sitting on a couch and somebody who it's It's different if it's my dog,
right?
But somebody I don't know their cleanliness level and their dog is just constantly walking on me and sit. It's it's and you're out.
And they're like, "Come on, Scrappy, stop it."
Those types of things, kind of, But I've grown.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah, but as far as animals, I've grown to really appreciate what
I'm
they
a big
bring.
fan of goats. There's been these videos surfacing on Instagram. Like TikTok and Reels. So they combine a music song, like a song, with a video, and they do. The song "Hot Stepper."
Yes.
They have these goats walking.
Oh yeah.
And their ears really move.
Yeah,
they got that song playing.
Yeah.
It is so funny, man.
Yeah.
The goats are great.
Yeah.
And then the llamas and the alpacas.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
Yeah. I've had a lot of customers.
I can't help it. I almost like farm animals better. They're just so.
I've had customers in the day. We used to sell our products to a lot of alpaca farmers, and they love these animals, like the alpacas.
They're brilliant.
And very expensive.
Oh yeah. Well, they hijack them from the mountains of South America. You know.
Very interesting.
Imagine this. Imagine seeing a camel.
I know.
Those things are humongous.
They are.
You think a moose is big.
You get a real appreciation for animals too. When you really when you stand next to them, even a giraffe. Again, we don't live right. You got to go to a zoo to see a giraffe, but just the sheer size of these things.
They're like dinosaurs.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We went to the ecology center, and your mom was standing there, and there was one giraffe that took a liking to her, and it literally would just constantly lean over her and try to get her drink and try to give her a kiss, and it really liked her, and it would follow her the whole way down.
They're so cute.
They are, and and bears or another animal.
Interesting.
Breathtaking.
There was a little Instagram story. Some people owned some sheeps. They had about 30 sheeps in a pen.
Yep.
And a puma came in and killed them all for sport.
Wow.
These animals are sick.
Yeah.
They do things that it didn't eat one of them. Just ripped their throat out and left.
They're natural hunters. I mean, that's what they do.
And then they caught the thing. It was in the cage.
Yeah.
And they walked up to it, and it what do you even do with it at that point?
Yeah.
You can't free it. It's gonna kill you.
I know.
You know? It's unbelievable. You got to call a professional. But
they are very.
You forget that a puma is tremendous. You forget that a mountain lion is
enormous.
Tremendous.
I didn't realize how big jaguars are.
Tremendous.
I thought that they were smaller than a leopard. They're in some cases bigger than a leopard.
Think of this.
Amazing.
Think of a little cat going nuts.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
This thing is 200 pounds.
I know. Amazing.
I mean, and their claws are like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They run 60 miles. They're just apex predators.
Yep. Well, I love cheetahs, watching them. You know what's interesting, too? It's every inch of that cheetah is built for speed. Their heads were smaller. If you look at a cheetah,
Aerodynamics.
yeah, you can really tell the difference between a leopard and a cheetah, because the leopard has like its head is smaller, its legs are constructed, its spine is constructed to contract and extend, and
they're
it's
just
like,
sick.
they're like
they're like the Ducati of the animal
they're
kingdom,
amazing.
You know?
They're amazing. And when you watch it chase animals on the Serengeti in Africa, it's like, man.
I saw this clip of this lion. They were going through, like you said, somewhere in Africa. And this boy had like a mane that must have been...
Oh, those are majestic, those lions.
I've seen male lions in person, but they weren't... Some of them are in comparison to size to some of these things.
Yeah, that's like a king lion. Some of them are just majestic.
And they're just so noble. Like, they don't...
Yep.
Lions are real, like... I would love to kind of study them a little bit because they
Beautiful
live
animals.
in a community.
Yes, they're very interesting.
It's fascinating. Like, not all animals do that.
No, tigers don't.
Tigers are solitary. But a tiger will destroy a lion one-on-one.
Which I always thought the lion would be the tougher of the animals. Tiger is actually tougher.
Now this is interesting. Tigers are the most vengeful animal on the planet. In other words, if you did it wrong, if you like hurt it or something, and
it had to come back at you.
If you leave for a year or two, and you come back, and that tiger knows, like, it will smell you and it will kill you.
Wow.
And there's like real research done into this. Like they remember,
smart, and they love water, which is interesting.
They could swim.
Yeah.
Did you see the video clip of the guys on the scooter driving through the jungle, and this lion's like, running next to them, and they had to like floor it, and like the guy's videotaping it, it comes right behind their scooter.
Wow.
I've seen videos of these lions running through like the field, and there's dudes on top of an elephant like 20 feet in the air. The lion jumps like Jordan and rips the dude's arm off. They are just sick.
Yeah, apex predators, man.
Sick. And in India and these places, like, we love to say, oh, leave them alone, don't kill them.
Yeah.
You have to worry that they're going to kill you.
Yes.
It's like this whole weird thing, so it's hard to, you got to defend yourself, like whose life.
I believe the biggest of the Siberian tigers.
Oh, yes. Which is amazing that they live that far north.
Yeah. Well, like when you think of a tiger, the Bengal tigers from India, the ones that you really have the picture of, because they have the like really deep, dark black stripes and the real red fur. They really look like what you think
like a tiger, like Tony the tiger.
Yeah, but the strongest tigers are probably the Siberian tigers, and they're bigger than lions. Tigers in general are.
I think
they're
tigers
taller.
have a few hundred pounds.
Yeah, they do about 150 to 200 pounds. Which I would have never known. I did some studying on them because I was curious, and I was.
They're like the size of horses.
Yeah, because you always hear the king of the jungle, the lion, but really lions are. It's the tigers are in the jungles. They're the ones.
Yeah,
that
lions are kind of like in the
out
desert.
In the Serengeti, in the plains.
Not the desert, but
in the plains. Though, you're right.
But it's fascinating. The tiger, it's a solitary animal and
amazing. But my love of cats, like
it's amazing they're cousins.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Their structure's
and you
identical.
can still see it. Like when I watch the cat, and your mom got this toy that it's like a fishing line with a little squeaky thing on the end of it, and I watch the cat and it stalks and you could still see.
You ever see a cat look out the window at birds and it goes?
Yeah.
You know what that is?
No.
That's their reflex of them doing the breaking of the neck.
Wow. Amazing.
All they think about is murder.
Yeah.
They're just psycho.
Well, that's how they survive. They get their food and they survive.
If they were big enough, believe me, they would kill you.
Yes, they're amazing.
That's what was fascinating, too, about Tiger King. Did you watch that?
No, I didn't.
You should.
I know.
It's very interesting.
I've heard.
It's
heard a lot about it.
The whole community of these big cat owners are very odd people.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And some of them are almost like the occult.
Yeah.
Where they bring like these girls, and it's like a Charles Manson vibe at their zoo. Yeah. And then like Joe Exotic and. I don't know. You should watch it though. It's worth it. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a and he
would give he first of all he ran for president. This guy, and he ran for governor of Oklahoma. He placed third. So that tells you about Oklahoma. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this guy would be like standing in the cage, like giving political updates with the tigers.
With the tigers.
And the tigers are just like behind, like lounge. It's how much.
I wonder if he dopes the tigers up a little bit.
You never know. But there was one though where like the tiger like bit him on the leg and was dragging him.
Wow.
And he had to fire his gun a couple times. And
well, that's the thing is that
one mistake.
Yeah.
I've seen video clips of someone in a zoo exhibit. Where the tiger was like, nah, I'm going to take you.
Yeah.
Took the dude and just walked off like it was a little toy.
What happened to Siegfried and Roy? I mean, it was those guys worked with tigers their whole, whole adult lives, basically, and probably even before that. And
it's an
ruined
accident
his life.
Sometimes, your head
is
like
ruined his life, though. Hits the right vein, and there's not...
They also have nerves in their canines that can sense where the jugulars and things like that are located.
Amazing. That's it. It hits the right vein, or and it restricts blood flow to the, to the brain.
In China, there's this video, a lot of video clips today, but these are real things.
People can look them up.
Yeah, exactly. There's this an exhibit. You drive through. It's an open exhibit where tigers kind of walk through openly, and you drive your car.
Yep.
And I guess they wanted to switch drivers. I don't know why she got out.
I saw that. Yeah. So you could.
So the tiger rips this chick.
Yeah.
Like she's nothing, gone.
Yeah.
And then they get out of the car. And then the tiger lets up on the girl and then goes to the mother and kills the mother. I mean, that will ruin your day.
That's the thing is like, if you're going to encroach on their territory, or you're going to
expect what you get.
Yeah, you're going to use them as a spectacle.
Who the hell would get out of their car? Oh, tiger! Idiot. I'm sorry, rest in peace. Terrible thing, but you're not going to see me do that.
Yeah.
Scariest thing in my life. I was up in New Hampshire.
Right.
I had no firewood. I thought I had enough. Sun went down.
Okay.
This is when I'm camping up there. I'm like deep.
Right.
So it's all just coals and pitch black.
Okay.
And I was freezing my ass off, by the way. All of a sudden, you hear a little turkey gobble, wild turkey, and then you hear a coyote, like this, like 50 feet away from my head.
Yeah, sure.
You hear this coyote shredding this turkey.
Wow.
And when you're sleeping in the woods...
Yeah, and you wake up to it. Yeah.
I was awake the whole time, but like it was just silent, and then all of a sudden you just hear this like chaos and then death.
Murder.
You hear a murder occur. It's... I can't think of anything that has scared me that much.
Yeah.
Because it's a dog. It's a wild dog.
Yeah.
They're much bigger than you think, too.
And they're in the
starting
suburbs
to surface.
now.
Yeah, they're starting to come to New York, L.A.
Yep.
I mean,
People
L.A. always had that, like Vegas and stuff.
Yeah, because you're on the outskirts of, like, wild areas. Yeah.
Which I think is what's so cool about those areas, by the way.
Yeah.
It's pretty fascinating. Like, you're, like, on the desert,
Sure. That's where the interaction between human and animals occur, and it's, it's scary sometimes.
Yeah. Then there was Timothy Treadwell, the grizzly man. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He was from Long Island, by the way.
No.
Needless to say, he did not tread so well. He believed he could live. I think he had mental problems that weren't addressed at the time. Because maybe back in the 90s or whenever it wasn't. And... he ended up getting himself and his girlfriend killed up in Alaska by some of the biggest grizzlies known to man.
Yeah, bears are not the type of animal that...
They don't want to play with you.
Yeah, you don't want to, like, negotiate with them for,
No.
And one swipe by the bear, you could be done. They're too powerful.
I've spent a lot of time researching bears.
Yeah, they're very interesting. Very interesting.
And, first of all, it's hard to find a dead bear.
You were saying that.
Yeah, they're solitary. They're not trying to be seen.
Amazing.
But this guy Timothy Treadwell, he went to Alaska, and he stayed for like an extra 2 weeks in the season when he should have been gone.
Gotcha.
Because bears go into these like moose. They go into these ruts where they have to get ready for their survival.
Yep.
And
you can't change thousands, in some cases millions of years of evolution. You just can't.
And that's why they're starting to think this guy maybe had some issues.
Sure.
He had no bear pepper spray. He had no gun. He's just in a paper mache tent with his girlfriend trying to videotape bears,
Jeez.
And there was video and audio of this attack. And there's something on YouTube you can hear that it's a depiction of what it actually sounded like. So it's not the real thing.
Yeah.
But I listened to it, and it really like...
Sure.
It's slow, and it's... that's why I have so much respect for Hugh Glass, the guy in The Revenant.
Sure.
That's a true story.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the movie was a little different, but the man was genuinely attacked by a grizz, and he took it down with a knife.
Yeah.
That's a badass, man.
Well, those guys back then, I mean, it's, they're also
they had one shot.
bred to...
Right. They were bears.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now it's not. But, I watch a lot of times, like, the people, especially these rich guys in the Middle East now with the big cats and stuff, and they do the videos where they're, like, rolling around with these tigers or...
Look at Khabib.
Yeah.
Wrestling a baby brown bear. I mean,
I just don't know if they drug these animals in these videos because, like, they have them walking on their Ferraris and stuff.
Right.
And, I don't know. But you see all sorts of stuff with these animals now. But,
I think we should leave them alone.
Yeah. Cause,
that's one thing I can't stand about humans is that they always feel the need to interject in things.
With them, with each other.
And it's for their own personal, selfish, narcissistic gains.
Yes.
And it makes me sick.
Yep.
With whales, with sharks, that's one thing I can't stand. I support hunting, I support conservation, I support fishing, all that. But that kind of stuff, we have no business.
No, you just
with a tiger,
making it right. Making a spectacle of the animal, and
it's for your own attention. And this is the point of Tiger King.
Right.
Like all these people, like psychologists or whoever was involved in the making of the documentary.
Sure.
It's like all these people are doing it for a status boost.
Yeah, well, that's
the problem.
The animal's the central figures. In some of these, it's not dangerous.
You ever see the polar bears in the Bronx Zoo?
I have.
Those are polar bears are another group of
they're enormous.
Unruly.
They're enormous.
They are phenomenal, though.
Yeah. I think they're the biggest bears too. I think size-wise.
Up in like northern Canada, like in the Hudson Bay area.
Yep.
Like those frontiersmen they weren't dealing with grizzlies. They were dealing with freaking polar bears.
Yeah.
They swim.
Yeah,
they can hold their
amazing.
breath. They can do things that are just like
beautiful animals.
And they run 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, they're just beautiful animals, but they're enormous. And I think
their skin is black, by the way.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Really? So under that white fur, they're black. Wow.
Fascinating. That's what I've read. I don't know, but I've never actually examined a polar bear. Yeah.
They're size-wise, I said they probably the biggest out of all the bears.
Yeah. And then there's the Kodiaks.
Enormous.
Which are stuck on that island, and they have an ample source of food, so they actually become like super bear.
When you're near a bear, like in the zoo or something, and you get the gist of...
They're not playing games.
Nah.
There's no like joking.
And you look at those nails on those claws, it's like, whoa.
My friend Ed...
Like sabers.
...has like a necklace of all 10 claws.
Oh, wow.
Or 20 claws of a grizzly bear. That thing is like worth a fortune.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's controversial, but the claws were already taken from this bear, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it would just go to waste anyway.
They're
but
enormous.
I remember like visiting and seeing that that necklace. Like you want to talk about a powerful necklace?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Wear some grizzly bear claws around you. That's
blank. They're like sabers, and
all they do is go up to trees.
Yeah, I know,
and file their nails, just ready for battle, like all day, every day.
Like a hibachi chef.
Right.
Just sharpening up those.
I don't know about a hibachi chef. Maybe like a sushi chef. Actually, the sushi chef is the guy who taught me how to get my knife sharper than anyone has ever been able to show me. It's guy Hitoshi. And this guy was like an amazing golfer.
Yeah. Golfer?
Golf.
Wow.
He was amazing at making sushi, sharpening his knife, and playing golf. The guy was like a stud. He was like...
Japanese guy, I guess?
Yeah. Really intelligent, though.
Well, that's... a lot of those chefs are really, they take their jobs very, They're militant. Yeah.
Like this guy, I ran the kitchen, but this guy Hitoshi would like... He ran the sushi. Like he wouldn't let me... he would just give me pointers. He's much older, so I tried to pay him respect, and everyone loved him. So I never really had an issue with him, but...
well, that's a Japanese guy. That's a good lead-in to actually today's day in history.
Absolutely.
I think September 2nd, 1945, Japan officially surrenders to the United States aboard the USS Missouri to end World War II in the Pacific. So very interesting, and of course,
a lot of people overlook how savage it was on those fronts. Like the Pacific was brutal.
Yep.
You owe me a Coke.
Yeah, you can watch the I like to watch like World War II in color sometimes, and you watch the fighting in the Pacific. And
Michael me and him used to play this game Call of Duty World at War, and it was all based on World War II. And I guess it was like the Battle of Macon Atoll. It really, like, as you saw with this video game, like, you really understand the savageness of what, I mean, they would torture you. And they knew.
Do not want to get captured by the Japanese.
No. I have a lot of respect for Japan. I mean, I think, they actually in some ways taught the French how to run a kitchen. So it's funny. Like, there's two real chieftains in the culinary world. Yeah, it's the Japanese and it's the French.
Yeah, very big on their for the greater good of their society. And,
and they also have things that would make our heads spin. Like they have these toys and luxuries that we can only dream of in this country. So,
very technology based,
Right, and sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes but they have pods in the street, right? You can go take a nap. And
well, that's a country that they have to make use of whatever available space they have because they're a small country,
Right. A lot of the land isn't
and it's not usable,
farmable,
right?
And agriculture stuff.
That's why a lot of those hotels they have, you literally rent just enough space, like a box almost, to lie in.
Like a coffin.
Yeah. And it's like they have them where they actually will lease them for the day or a couple of hours. So if you're a worker and you want to take a break or a nap, you're basically leasing just a bed and the space around you.
It's amazing it took a nuclear bomb or an atomic bomb.
Twice. Two spots, to
stop them. But imagine what they must have thought at the moment of impact.
No, I couldn't imagine.
Like what the emperor, like what went through his head, like, it's over. Like, we're done. They just blew us to smithereens.
Incremental at that point, up till that point, what made the atomic bomb so interesting, up till that point, there would be like incremental improvements in warfare.
Right.
You might make a better bullet. You might make a gun that shoots further, has a little better aim. But like with the atomic bomb at that point, it was game over. It was such a quantum leap from what they had before that.
Thank old Uncle Albert Einstein for that one.
Well, it changed the world going forward because it shifted the balance of power.
It's amazing how that one guy defected from Germany, came to America, and without him, we may have not had it so easy. I mean. Our soldiers were so tired by 1945. I mean, there's only so many of us.
Brutal to fight that war in the Pacific. And
they were savage. They used samurai swords. They used high-tech rifles and guns. They had it all. They had and then you had the kamikazes.
That's what I was going to say.
Instill a lot of fear in you because they're willing to die right then and there. To kill them or not.
Imagine just looking up and you're on that boat
and you see a plane coming at you at 300 miles an hour. Jesus Christ. That's scary.
Yeah, and the Japanese
would strap it up with bombs too. Like it wasn't just like
and they tried to hit the boat just right so that it caused the most devastation.
They were drugged out. Savage. I mean, that's the thing about war. I mean,
well, that's why you needed an atomic bomb to basically end.
They were samurais.
But it was like a quantum leap forward in warfare because up till that point, the level of destruction that you'd have to do something like a blitzkrieg where you kind of kept launching on the city and
which
now
is terrible,
right. I mean, it was terrible, but now you're able to basically drop a bomb that could level a city. And it was just a scary, and it led to the Cold. The atomic bomb led to
piqued everyone's interest.
The Cold War was a race to establish military supremacy, and the atomic bomb was like the queen where you can knock everybody else off the board.
Go in any direction.
Yeah, yeah. Major improvement though. And
there were so many questions before they dropped the bomb though. Like there was questions like on the ozone, would it react and cause a chain reaction where the whole world would engulf in some type of this atomic flame? And I mean, there's always like a risk for the unknowns. And actually, to pay a little respect to Art Bell, they were talking about that on his show. I was listening. It was obviously a rerun, but they were actually talking about the atomic bomb and when they used it and what some of the fears were that didn't have to necessarily do with the location and the drop site, but more so with the
environmentally and stuff.
There could have been some kind of friction between atoms being pushed, like really strange chain of events because of what is in the oxygen that we breathe. So, like, that was fascinating. And they knew that there was a chance, but they figured we'll take the risk anyway. Well, so it's amazing.
A lot of people that are alien, study aliens and study UFOs.
Ufologists.
They cite the atomic bomb as one of the main reasons that the aliens are trying to visit humans because they feel like, in their view, a lot of them feel like that was the point where they're like, oh, these monkeys are starting to really mess with
some heavy stuff.
Yeah. So,
planet enders.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So that's
I like Michio Kaku's,
Yeah, sure.
What his theory is with aliens is like...
Speaking of Japanese,
Yeah, we're really...
brilliant guy.
It's very smart. And one of the things he was saying about aliens, which kind of helps me size up the situation, is it's almost like our society is like an anthill. And aliens would be the human walking by it. We don't even notice it. We might step on it. And that's kind of like what he feels... like the scale of aliens would be compared to us if it was to exist. So I always thought that was a pretty interesting way to look at it.
A lot of theories.
If these things can figure out wormhole technology and travel like they don't care about us. That's my opinion. I think if there's anything they care about, it's the gold that's on Earth, which has been this long argument and conversation. But gold is very unique to Earth. Yeah. And that's why it's so valuable. It's like really not, you can't, I don't know where else you find it.
Apparently there are, not many places. It's why you're getting a gold-based economy in a lot of societies throughout history.
It's in all of our technology. It's like a superconductor. It has so many like unique characteristics that it's hard to understand. But that's why they always want your cell phone back and they always want your computer. Because there's stuff
chip
in there.
Away at that,
Yeah, they just break it down, they take what they need, they recycle it, and thank God, Imagine how much gold is in the bottom of the ocean from shipwrecks.
That's why they, I remember they were hunting, like even when Geraldo Rivera did the opening Al Capone's vault, it was all about finding what kind of gold, and he was sadly disappointed. I don't think there was anything.
The Curse for Oak Island. Did you ever watch that?
No.
Pretty interesting. Oak Island. I think it's up Nova Scotia way, maybe Newfoundland, something like that. And really fascinating. I don't know if they found anything. I don't think they did, but there was this whole legend that there was just tons of buried gold from the old world.
That would be incredible to find like a real pirate's treasure.
People found it before. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Graham Hancock makes a good point, though. He's like, all we do when it comes to sea oceanic archaeology is look for frickin' gold. But there's so much more. They got to broaden their focus. But there's something about gold that triggers us. Like, we got to find it.
It's like instant value, and it's always, it's all, it's not something that fluctuates. It does fluctuate, but it always comes back as like, it's
like
always worth it.
If you found a freaking chest of gold, you're a gazillionaire.
Yeah.
An ounce of gold is like $1,400.
Incredible.
Isn't that crazy?
But that would be something to really find,
treasure chest with jewels and all that.
But I'll never forget when Geraldo, they had this big special and opening
it up and there was nothing in there.
Sucker.
Yeah.
So.
Geraldo.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. I got to meet him.
Yeah, you did. You did some cooking for him, right?
Yes, I did. And he did.
He's been around a long time.
He has.
You know, he came out in the 70s.
He's got a killer mustache.
Yeah,
when you see it in person, it's even better.
Yeah, that's real porn star mustache, you know.
Hey, speaking of that, have you seen about Ron Jeremy?
No.
He's like going like in big trouble for like rape accusations.
Oh,
and stuff.
now after
right.
all,
He's
yeah.
100 years old.
Like,
but you know, he was on court in court the other day, like. You know,
was it
really?
from a fellow porn star, or was this from? Like
I think it's like 30 different accusers.
You know,
drugging, raping, like the whole Bill Cosby spiel, pretty much.
Oh my God!
But it's like I'm not shocked. I mean, the guy made a living off of his foot-long dong and being naked and scoring. Like that's what he did. So I don't know. The porn industry is a dangerous industry to be in.
Yeah,
lot
it's
of insurance
booming
liabilities.
industry apparently. You know,
it is, but it's dark and it's weird
but yeah, well, you know, it
very
was
strange.
It was a lot more fringe back in the 70s, the 80s. You know,
right. Now it's like
now
you can't get away from it. Almost.
Like all the garbage that's I'm not saying
good.
Porn's garbage. I'm just saying.
No,
like,
it's not good though.
Yeah, for like things for kids to see, it's like it's just everything is out there.
It's
but,
not good.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it's not good.
Yeah.
It's just something that we do now because of technology and its accessibility.
Yeah.
I remember, it's like a little weird, but I remember I was in like 8th or 9th grade, and we were at the bus stop, me and my buddies, and like I guess like this house was evicted.
Yeah.
And there was like all these boxes, and it was just before school.
Porn magazines.
And we found this giant box of like porn mags, and we were like, yeah. We thought we like, ugh,
yep.
God.
That's like finding a hidden treasure.
That's
for,
like finding a box of gold.
Treasure.
Right.
We when I was a kid, we'd ride BMX bikes. We built like trails in the woods with jumps and stuff. And I remember, and a lot of the older guys, the older teenagers, would hide their porn magazines.
Yeah, stash them in a tree or something.
And everybody was always, I heard EJ stashed his porn magazines. And
yeah.
we would,
those are the old things.
Yeah.
That,
but even back
kids
then,
today will never know.
We had, this was like 1984, 85. But you'd find the magazines from like 1973, 74. It was like he'd have like his dad's, and he'd stash them. But yeah, that was like hidden treasure. I mean, we found those. We found cigarettes and all the
that happened.
Societal ills.
Right. As a kid, it's
buried in the woods.
So a final thing for today, I had a little surprise topic for you. We were talking about before the podcast. So there's this local bar. It's called the Clifton.
Okay.
It's right over here.
Yep.
And they're doing this thing where they're taking bets where there's going to be more shootings, New York or Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And
taking money on,
like they have like sports betting, you know, like they have, and somebody saw it, and obviously like Instagrammed it or tweeted it, whatever the hell you do, and it made national news. And now this bar this isn't the first time. They're like Blue Lives Matter, you know, like. I kind of support them, but I think freedom of speech. Do what you want, but it's big,
I mean, they're not. You want to. If this is so horrible, then people should. There's a reason,
right?
And the more.
I think it's more of a political statement poking fun at the fact that these cities are two shitholes
run by
assholes.
Right. I agree.
So I support them.
Yeah.
I understand why they're doing.
Yeah.
But now the police department's looking in like. Hitting them with maybe it's like illegal gambling and stuff. Like they're under investigation, and it's like it's ridiculous.
What the police should be focusing on today,
right.
And it's not you can't I don't blame individual cops.
I think
they're put up to it by the administration because they're having pressure from the dipshit politicians.
Right.
But
I figured you'd find that one interesting.
Yeah, I do. I find it interesting, but to me it's just further.
Then there's this lady on the news. This is racial insensitivity.
Yeah, I can't.
There's a lot of brown people in the city.
Yeah.
There's a lot of white people too. You clown.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Well, it's a liberal. Any liberal-run city is basically a shithole nowadays. And they've when you look at it and when you look at cities and you try to see cities that run successfully or are ahead of the game. And then you look at the ones that there's constant issue with crime.
Yeah.
There's constant. So the
I
only
bet you
reason,
this one Trump's going to weigh in on this.
Right. Well,
Betcha.
the only reason that there's crime in these cities is the cops are bad to like. Man, oh man!
You know what's funny about this like bar too is it's like right off of Main Street, and across the street is almost like Section 8 apartment buildings.
Oh, wonderful!
So they probably deal with like all kinds of crazy crap all the time, but they fly Blue Lives Matter.
Do you remember where? Sorry to interrupt you, but you brought Section 8. I didn't realize there was a woman that worked for me living in Section 8 across the street from our house. And she came in, her neighbor, her roommate came in asking you for your allowance that time. Do you remember that? When the woman came? Yeah, that was Section 8. So I had to go over there and tell them if they came over again, I was going to call the town.
Right.
Because, it's a bunch of...
hounding a kid
for his allowance.
Right.
To get more beer.
Well, my privilege, you mean?
Yeah, well...
That's my privilege,
yeah, so... Yeah.
God almighty. Help
so imagine
us
what that bar has to deal with them.
Listen, I believe you got to have some humanity.
Yeah,
I believe you got to be loving. I believe in all
absolutely.
But I think that there's a point where the ignorance becomes
that's
outrageous.
Right.
And I can't.
Right.
I cannot align with any of that crap.
No.
I can't.
No.
I'm sorry. I feel bad for people who are like in this like
doubt.
deep belief that there's this like conspiring, deep conspiring against them. Like, I'm sorry, we all work for $1. We all live this parallel reality.
There's been nothing easy for me my entire life. And I'm not saying crying the blues, I'm just saying, like, you
got to work for everything you got.
Yeah. Like everybody else. I mean, I don't, and then people will I don't even want to start this right now.
It's okay. This is why we do it.
Yeah, I just don't even, watching this girl post.
I can see how much you look like you're gonna vomit.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's just so like, it's so tiresome and it's so.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, what I do is I try to just manipulate my own reality.
Yeah.
And if I see that you're really,
I
just
treat
don't
people
argue
nicely and
right.
I treat people with respect. And you know what? I never have a problem.
I just
really
want to say
don't.
on the podcast, I want to offer my support to the Clifton. They've always been a very patriotic bar. They've always I've never had a problem there. It's always a really good, diverse crowd, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun there. And I think,
well,
like,
if anything, it points, they're bringing light to the fact that these cities are in total disarray.
Right. And then people are, it's, oh, God.
Look at the buffoon that they elected as a mayor, and then there you go.
Yeah. I think what they did was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if people don't like it, but there's a reason they did it. And
stop looking at some little dingy neighborhood bar. Look at the moron running the city.
Right.
And
and his asshole daughter.
Yeah.
You ever see the picture of her? She's like this.
Yeah, she looks like a demon.
She looks like Bert and Ernie.
I know.
Remember their haircuts?
That is just something. It's like, when they say if you got something nice, you don't have something nice to say. I just don't.
I'm going into low vibration.
Yeah, I just don't want to even say it.
But total turds.
Yeah.
And
to me, it's just you can't fight truth and you can't fight reality.
Yep.
And feelings are not, you can't fight truth.
Your feelings
and reality.
don't change the facts.
Right.
Bottom line. And
with that being said,
God bless the Clifton. God bless the United States. We love animals. We love you all. Thanks for joining us today.
See you tomorrow, Wednesday.
We will You're
all
Thursday.
over the place.
You got to get it together, man. You're like losing it.
See you Thursday, September 3rd.
Remember Joe Pesci? You may fold up the questioning. I worry about you. Anyway, everybody, have a great day. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll be in touch.
Thursday.